Alrighty, so what we have here are two trig identities that we're going to prove. We're going to simplify these and then cancel out like terms in the numerator and the denominator. So let's go ahead and start. We'll start with this one, secant of theta minus tangent theta sine theta equals cosine theta. So first thing we can do is actually convert the secant into its basic form of 1 over the cosine theta minus, and we'll simplify these. So tangent's the same thing as sine of theta over cosine of theta. And then we have times sine theta. So here's the trick. We have a common denominator here. So that means we can combine these two. And this right here becomes sine squared theta. So we have 1 minus sine squared theta all over cosine theta. And right here, this is actually a trig identity because sine squared theta plus cosine squared theta equals 1. So we can subtract sine squared from here, and if you notice, we get the cosine. So we have cosine squared theta over cosine theta, and one of the cosines and this cancels this out, and we end up with just cosine theta. All right, so let's go ahead and do our next trig identity. We've got the cotangent squared alpha, I think that's alpha, fishy, alpha, times 1 minus cosine squared alpha. So what we can do here is we can break this down to cotangent is the same thing as cosine squared over sine squared. And if you multiply this out, I'll go ahead and distribute this. So you distribute it on the 1 and then the cosine. So this becomes cosine. You know what? We can just do this first. And I'm doing this on the fly. We can actually convert this into sine squared because of what we did here. But instead we took 1 minus cosine squared equals sine squared. And the reason I did this, I mean, I could have kept going, but it's just easier to do this. So this is cosine squared alpha over sine squared alpha. And you multiply this cancels this out, and you're left with just cosine squared alpha. And that's it. Awesome. So there's two trig identities. Hopefully this helped you out. I appreciate you watching this channel, and you take care.